Fortnite Chapter 7 just released, and I'm not only about to show you the best in-game settings for the absolute best performance, but I'm also gonna give you my custom Nvidia Profile Inspector profile, which you can straight up apply to your PC. I'm also gonna show you other methods to actually give you a competitive advantage and explain a lot more. But you know what's just as important as having the right Fortnite settings for maximum FPS? Getting really low ping, and this is where GearUP Booster comes in clutch. GearUP Booster is your #1 gaming service when it comes down to reducing your ping. With the top link in my video description, you can by the way try it out for absolutely free, guys, and even pros like Zen are using it. It's gonna help you to find the best DNS service in your near to make sure to get the least amount of latency in all your favorite games. No matter if you're playing Fortnite, CS2, Valorant, or the wide variety of games which GearUP actually supports. Not only does it help you to reduce your ping, but also give you better stability in games. So if you sometimes have random lag spikes or you have connection issues, GearUP is gonna help you to counter that. So therefore, try out GearUP Booster for absolutely free as mentioned with the top link in my video description. And now guys, I'm about to show you the best in-game settings. And first of all, let's begin on the video with display, windowed mode. This one you always want to turn on full screen, guys. You don't want to use windowed full screen because this is actually going to give you additional latency. For resolutions, I'm of course here playing now on 1920x1080p, since this is what most Fortnite pros are forced to play anyways when it comes down to LANs and stuff like that. So therefore, yeah, I do have also as well a full-on dedicated guide where I show you how to apply the best stretch resolutions in Fortnite. So therefore, make sure to check out that one afterwards as well if you feel like maybe trying out something like 1720x1080, which is petabot stretch resolution. These things should be completely turned off unless you're playing on a 60 to 75 Hz monitor with a lot of visual glitches that can actually help you. Other than that, always turn off VSync. Frame rate limiter for me is right now set on unlimited, but actually what I do instead, guys, is go into my game user settings and set my maximum FPS, actually 3 FPS underneath my maximum monitor refresh rate. Since I'm normally playing on 360 Hz, what I'm doing is going into my game user settings as mentioned and changing it manually to 357. These 3 FPS less are gonna help your Fortnite to basically sync better. This is something to do with the Unreal Engine and provides you a lot more stable FPS. Then for the rendering mode, guys, we have now multiple performance modes, and what I actually found out is even on modern hardware, like I'm running right now a new Ryzen 7 9800X 3D, the legacy performance mode still works the best. Of course, even now the new performance mode, which they are actually describing as running a lot better when it comes down to newer hardware, but if you're experiencing struggle on that one, I would highly recommend you to just simply go back to legacy performance mode. This is the one which has been on Fortnite literally for years now. Then for the graphics settings, actually for my brightness, I'm keeping it on 100%, user interface contrast on 1x, colorblind mode on tri-tone up set to 7. This one looks the best in my opinion, guys. You can of course even go a little bit higher with the color number itself. This is gonna make your game a little bit brighter, or if you go down here now, it's just gonna have a little bit more shadows to it. Then the user interface parallax on is literally not really that important. It's only effects like in the shop and stuff like that. And now next up, the graphics quality performance mode settings. This is now where you can actually squeeze out a lot of FPS. My 3D resolution I always keep on 100% for the competitive advantage. But what I can highly tell you guys is if you go down to something, let's say like 80, where your Fortnite is still gonna look completely fine, guys, this is not gonna make a huge difference in terms of visuals. You're actually gonna gain a lot more FPS on average, because this is overall determining how high quality your Fortnite is being rendered. So therefore, your whole entire picture is not anymore full quality 100%, but only 80%, which still looks completely fine, but you're gonna gain a lot of FPS through that. So therefore, definitely try it out, or something like 90 maybe. Dynamic 3D resolution, gonna keep on off. Viewing distance, I would personally keep on medium, because if you keep this one here on near, you're only gonna see around 250 meters, which is super low, especially for competitive. And now for Chapter 7, you definitely want to keep it on medium, guys, because we have white spaces in this map. And textures on low, of course, and meshes on low as well. These are 2 important modes. Just simply keep them on the lowest possible, because I don't really care about how textures look like, especially not in competitive game like Fortnite. Now advanced graphics, show FPS just simply on. For latency markers, you don't really need. There's only like an intern benchmark for Nvidia cards, and then the Nvidia Reflex low latency mode. This one I highly would recommend you to keep at least on. And why this feature is so important is actually very easy to understand. The Nvidia Reflex low latency mode basically cuts down the amount of pre-rendered frames. Usually that's 3 FPS which are being pre-rendered. So the picture which you're right now seeing in Fortnite is actually outdated by 3 frames. And with the Nvidia Reflex low latency mode just simply on, it's gonna cut it down to only 1 frame being pre-rendered, which is gonna give you a lot lower latency. So therefore, I highly would recommend to utilize this. And the best part about this is, since this is now built into the engine and not over the driver anymore, like through the Nvidia control panel as an example, this is not super hardware demanding anymore. You can easily enable this on most modern PCs, literally even with an RTX 2060 or something like that. If you have very good cooling in your PC, you can even go on plus boost. This is gonna ensure that your GPU GPU clock is gonna be higher at all time, which is gonna also produce a lot more heat. So therefore be aware that your PC has to have really good cooling for this, because other than that, your GPU is just gonna overheat and you're actually gonna lose FPS. But for anyone here watching with Nvidia card, you can 99% sure just simply put this on. This is gonna work amazing. Report performance sets on disable. We don't want to use this because there's basically a benchmark running in the background. Next up on the sound, guys, sound quality you actually want to keep on low. This is even described in the launcher itself. If you put it on high quality, it's gonna sound better, but it can decrease performance. And then if you're playing actually competitive, I would highly recommend you to utilize visualize sound effects on. It's just simply gonna give you all of the extra info which you need when you're playing competitive. So therefore, if you're trying to grind in Fortnite and become a lot better, definitely utilize visualize sound effects. But of course, keep in mind this is again hardware demanding. So therefore, if you're struggling with FPS, you can also turn it off. And then we are already good to go and apply. Now, many people are also asking me personally about the best double movement settings, guys. The settings which I'm using right now personally don't really bother you at all while free building and all of that. So therefore, I would highly recommend you them. So therefore, if you go into Fortnite right now, into your settings and then mouse and keyboard, I would highly recommend you to go for your forward diagonal angle to 70, strafe angle to 90, and backwards diagonal angle to 135. This is what many Fortnite pros are right now using, and I can highly recommend you this, guys. Like, this is super easy to play with, and it's actually giving you all of the advantages which you need while moving around freely in Fortnite, so that you're actually not getting stuck by a movement, especially if you want to go around corners and stuff like that. You know, it's not going to be like too harsh where it's actually going to stop your character, because if you put your diagonal angle a little bit too hard, it's going to weirdly stop your character while moving. So therefore, just apply the settings which I'm right now here showing you. And now, guys, I'm about to show you the best Nvidia Profile Inspector settings with my own custom profiles, so that you can get the maximum FPS and least amount of input delay in Fortnite Chapter 7. And what we're going to need in the first place, guys, is the Nvidia Profile Inspector, which you can either Google up or click onto the link in the video description, where you can click onto the latest version, and then you just simply have to scroll down until you can find the Nvidia Profile Inspector zip file. And once you get it, just simply drag the exit onto your desktop. Then next up, what you have to do is go into discord.gg/LeStripes, which is my official Discord. Link to it is going to be in the description or on screen right now. And then you're going to find performance packs under important. What you can do as well is just simply search up performance until you can find the performance packs channel. And in here, then I'm going to post afterwards the config after the video has been uploaded. You can get it from here, guys. By the way, this message always appears no matter what you're trying to upload onto your Discord, since this is a WinRAR or zip file. You're gonna need 7-zip or WinRAR as mentioned to open this up. And once you get it, it should look a little bit like this here. Nvidia config by LeStripes, and then we're gonna open up first of all the Nvidia Profile Inspector. And once you're in here now, we're gonna go into this top bar and type in there actually Fortnite to load up Fortnite itself, the Windows 64 shipping X. Now you can see there are no settings applied in here, so therefore what we're gonna do is click on the import user-defined profiles, and then you're gonna select the profile which I just gave you from the official pack, guys. You can then see profile successfully imported, and we're gonna click on OK. And then I'm gonna briefly explain all of these settings which we actually changed. First of all, any sort of frame rate limiter should be completely turned off. G-Sync as well, same thing. Unless you're using a G-Sync monitor, completely useless. Then the maximum pre-rendered frames and ultra low latency mode kinda don't play too much of a role anymore, since this is actually built into the Fortnite engine itself. Maximum pre-rendered frames is like a super old tag as mentioned, which is actually reducing the amount of pre-rendered frames from 3 to 1, which is gonna give you a lot less input delay. And then the ultra low latency mode kinda replaced it, but since Fortnite is actually rendering this in-game via engine and not anymore over the driver, you can just simply keep the ultra low latency mode enabled on, and then the control panel state on ultra, and that way you're just making sure that you're actually getting the low latency mode. But as mentioned, this is a setting which we previously applied actually in the official Fortnite setting. It's called the Nvidia Reflex low latency mode, so therefore, yeah, if you're already utilizing that one, it's gonna override the ultra low latency mode and pre-rendered frames. Then vertical sync should be completely turned off as mentioned, unless you're running 60 or 75 Hz. Anything which has something to do with vertical sync should be completely off. Next up, we have anti-aliasing FXA enabled. And if you're not using any sort of anti-aliasing to actually make objects appear a little bit sharper in the distance, just simply leave this on off, or just simply the settings which you're getting actually from this pack. I don't really care about like how sharp edges are in the distance. I'm playing Fortnite. The game looks anyway so cartoonish, you won't really even notice this, so therefore I'm just trying to go for maximum FPS. Then gamma correction leave on of course. Transparency super sampling gonna leave on disabled as well. And then MSAA we're also not utilizing, which is kind of like an improved version of anti-aliasing, which we're also not using in Fortnite, so therefore don't really care about it. The only thing which is somewhat important is anti-strophic filtering optimization and sample optimization. Both of these should be on, which is gonna help your Fortnite to load textures faster, which might not look as good anymore, but as mentioned, I don't really care about it, I just want better performance. And then LOD bias, just simply you can leave on allow. This is only important if you're actually trying to apply potato graphics in Fortnite. I have also a full entire tutorial on my channel. And then texture filtering quality, we're just gonna keep on high performance. Then you're already good to go, click apply, and you already applied the best Fortnite Nvidia Profile Inspector settings for 2026 or Chapter 7.